Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with takeout available. Visit nightingalempls.com for details.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours on 1150 AM KKNW in Seattle. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday. Good to have you with us. Guest free this hour. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, Jackie Craig, the People's March going on this weekend in St. Paul. We'll talk more about that coming up in that hour. Patrick is back with us today. Hello, Patrick. How are we today?
Doing all right. How are you?
All right. I did meet Bob Uecker. Did you ever, were you ever a Brewers fan or anything like that?
I came in later, obviously. I did enjoy him in Major League. Of course, some of the quotes. The one that I told my friends this afternoon was I came up with 2 outs in the 9th, and I looked in the opposing dugout, and they were all in street clothes.
The Uke was great. So Bob Uecker, of course, the voice of the Milwaukee Brewers, now played very, he was just a character, man, and he was great. He passed away. So I met Uke. My first commercial job out of the military was a radio station down in Beloit, Wisconsin. And at that point, they were the Beloit Brewers, and I think they're the Beloit Terrapins now. I think they were the A-ball team, if I remember correctly, for Milwaukee. And they did an affiliates day. So we were able to go up to the old Milwaukee County Park, or the one before the dome on it there. It was this old, fantastic Gothic brick and wrought iron stadium. And the smell of Miller High Life. The Miller High Life there was really good. I remember that. It was a completely different beast than what you get in a bottle or a can. It was really tasty. So we're down there. I saw Brian Harper and Jody Reed came down, the players that came down to say hi to the affiliates, and they were quite nice. But Uke comes walking by, and this was, I believe, was it his heart attack he had years and years ago? He had a heart attack. And he walked past me, and he was kind of translucent. Like you could kind of see a little bit through the guy's skin. He was on the road to recovery, and he lived a long life after that. So that's good news. And he came over, and he was clearly in trying to get somewhere. And he came over and said, "Hey, affiliates, love you guys. Hey, you need a picture?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All right, go ahead and take it." Took the picture. He said, "You got it?" I said, "Yes." Like, "Hey, have a great one. Thanks for being an affiliate." And he turned and walked away. It was a simple thing, but I can tell you now, as a guy that has done this and been at sporting teams and stuff like this, there's not a lot of guys that would do that, especially if they were busy and they're trying to get stuff ready for a game. He was just a nice guy. And whenever I've told that story, everyone else who's ever met the guy has the same thing. "Oh my gosh, he just stopped. How are you doing today? Great to have you here. Always treated you, always recognized you, acknowledged you, said hello." And that is a rare thing when these people, some of these people there, it really was nice. So very sad that he has passed away. The other major passing away is David Lynch, the writer filmmaker. He, of course, it's what's interesting about David Lynch. I have a friend who writes about movies, and he's really smart about them. And he said he always felt David Lynch was the anti-Tim Burton, where Tim Burton became kind of the success and punched his way through, even with his quirkiness, into mainstream success. That Lynch, even though he at multiple times in his career released a movie which was an unbelievable film, whether it was Elephant Man or it was Blue Velvet or Mulholland Drive, or he has so many. He did these great works. Twin Peaks, of course, was him. He did these things, and he could have launched himself into superstardom, and he just always went back to artsy indie film afterwards, and it was really kind of unique the way that he did that. And his films, like I said, if you look at Blue Velvet, The Elephant Man, Mulholland Drive, I know Eraserhead is another one that a lot of people put out there as one of his big ones there. He was a fantastic director, and that is a big loss. If you haven't seen, Blue Velvet, Elephant Man, and Mulholland Drive are all kind of, yeah, I'm pretty sure all of them are in the Criterion Collection now. They're all kind of considered kind of iconic Hollywood films. And if you haven't seen them, you should. And of course, Twin Peaks, which was, that was a weird show, man. That was weird. But yeah, they, he had a style to him, and he liked being the counterculture guy, and he was all the way till the end. I mean, his last thing that he did was 2017, which doesn't. I mean, he did the Twin Peaks: The Return, which was broadcast, continued, that it ran for 2 seasons. As the TV series that ran for 2 seasons in the early 1990s. That was his last major project. I mean, I was looking at his resume. He did something like music videos and did like shorts and stuff. It's amazing director there. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So I wanted to mention 2 things in regards to comments I heard back from the stories I had yesterday about Indiana trying to lasso a few of the Illinois counties and Iowa trying to lasso a few of the Minnesota counties. And granted, once again, these people that are doing it are just trolling. I mean, there is no way on the planet these people want to pay the fair market value. I mean, I'm not even saying, not even suggesting the counties are for sale, but even if they were, we're talking billions of dollars, and they themselves don't even understand what they're kind of proposing. One Republican Iowa senator wants to make Minnesota, Iowa again, introducing a bill. This was Mike Busalot from Ankeny, Iowa, wanted to take the southern 9 counties in Minnesota and incorporate them into Iowa. The Indiana General Assembly bill filed by one of the state's most powerful lawmakers would set up a commission to embrace neighboring counties in Illinois that want to secede and join the Hoosier state. Which no, I mean, the 2 comments I got, and I thought both of these were exceptional. And by the way, you're more than welcome to reach out, comment on these stories at all on the social media pages. Matt McNeil Show on Blue Sky, as well as on Mastodon. Matt McNeil Show, Progressive Citizen X on Facebook, and on Threads, it's Matthew McNeil 1. The one person brought up the point that she said that it's almost like they don't realize that all those people live in those border counties and have never yet. I mean, and one of the easiest things in the world for them to do would be to pick up and move their stuff and go into the neighboring state. And yet they don't do that. And at no point does it click in for the people in Iowa that maybe, just maybe, that's your sign that they don't want to do it. As a matter of fact, in the Minnesota story, there are some people down in the town of Blue Earth, and they basically are like, no, we like Minnesota. Thank you very much. And so, yeah, it's pretty funny. It's like, if people want to go to your state, you act as if these counties are being held hostage. They're not being held hostage. Anyone can leave at any point and go into your state. And funny story, they don't want to do that, which brings up the other point a guy made, which he said, this seems more, if you know about Indiana and Iowa, those are states that are kind of losing population. And I can tell you this from my personal experience of living in Iowa for a while. You go to a lot of these towns, and the town is basically 18 and under and people who are 55 and older. And there isn't a lot in the middle there. And that is, I think, a lot of what drives some of these cities, these states, to basically have a grudge against the big glitzy Chicago or the nice metropolitan area of Minneapolis, St. Paul, is because their kids all leave home as soon as they can, and they never come back. They would rather not work the farm. They'd rather go up there and become something else and live in the metro areas. And that's always put a chip on their shoulder. And the thing which he pointed out, he said, I think a lot of this is just their personal frustration, these states' personal frustration, Iowa and Indiana, that their own people don't want to stay there. So this is some sort of pathetic attempts like, we're going to save these counties and lasso them and bring them into our state because somebody's going to want to have to be here. Somebody has to want to be in Indiana. Like I said, like the first comment said, there's nothing stopping them. There's lots of roads between Illinois and Indiana. At any point, anyone could jump on a road and just drive right into Indiana. And yet they don't do that, do they? Yes. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I want to start this next segment, and this might take up the rest of this hour particularly, with some tried and true comments I've made about wealthy people. And that wealth is wasted on the wealthy. Because I don't know about you, there is a dollar amount where if I ever achieve that amount of money, you would never hear from me again. You would never hear from me again. I wouldn't, go to work. Are you crazy? No, done. And that's the thing, is that there these people that constantly, guys like Elon Musk, who are like, I got to make $400 billion. I need to make $1 trillion. They're broken. There is something really broken in them, or very evil. And it's one of the two, and it really is, because people just don't want you thinking about how much money they actually do have and how they don't seem to be able to enjoy it. Let me give you a great example of that. I have talked about this before. Say that for every meal you have each day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, each meal is $1,000. Now think about that. Your breakfast, top of the line, made by the top chef, top of the line every day. Every day, your lunch is a masterpiece, and dinner's opulent and beautiful and savory and delicious. $1,000 each. The finest restaurants in this country making you breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. How much would that cost for 50 years? For 50 years. Well, if you have $1,000 per meal, you times it by 3 for 3 meals per day, times it by 365 for each day of the year, and then times that by 50, the number you get is $54,750,000. I say that number because there are people that have, that's outrageous. No one's going to live like that. Occasionally, you'll just have a yogurt and some fruit, okay? It might be really high-end yogurt. It might be that $20 yogurt they see in the tub in the high-end stores, but it's just going to be yogurt and fruit, so you're not going to do that. But I bring up this point to when I see people who are like, I've got 200 million, I need 300 million. I'm like, you don't have to work a day of your life ever again. Why? What is wrong with you that you have to have power, that you have to have more? How can you not enjoy? You can live the rest of your days in peaceful tranquility with hardly any stress whatsoever, and you just don't do it. Because you know what? There is something that, and when you look at these people and these obscene dollar amounts, there is something that is broken there. And it's not something that in this country we want to talk about, but we need to talk about, because this much wealth concentrated with this few of people is making our lives effing freaking miserable. Absolutely. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Hi, everyone. Matt McNeil here. 4 years ago, we came out with the first AM 950 calendar. Now get ready for the 5th edition. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar, featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members who make a recurring donation of $10 will receive an AM 950 2025 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you, or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. It's really simple to become a member of AM 950. Go to our webpage, am950radio.com. Click on the membership button and sign up. The website has all the details on the different levels, the 2025 calendar, and Tom's book. Thank you to everyone who over the last 5 years has continued to help support AM 950, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
Hi, this is Ken Hagelin, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, heard each Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950. Joining me this Saturday is Harvey Pearl, principal of Pearl & Company, a Minnesota-based insurance broker, and he will be talking about the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period that ends March 31st and allows participants to switch plans or adjust coverage to fit their needs for 2025. That's this Saturday, January 18th, from noon to 1 on Living Healthy and Aging Well.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromenlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction again. Does your home feel colder than it should with the furnace constantly running? Or do certain rooms always feel colder than the rest of the house? Those are signs the attic in your home may need an insulation upgrade. Snap Construction can help by providing a free energy audit for your home's insulation. The average cost of getting new insulation can cost much less than a new furnace. Plus, Snap Construction is a BPI certified installer. That means if you use Snap for your next insulation project, you qualify for up to $650 in total rebates from your energy provider. After my free inspection, my insulation upgrade was completed within a few weeks and the rebate check was in the mail. Snap to it and reduce your heating bill this winter with Snap Construction. Call 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP for your free energy audit when you mention AM 950. Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation company in the metro.
Suddenly I find I got darkness on my mind.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. No, the reality is this, is that there is a dollar amount. I mean, for me, I'd probably peg it about $200 million. That if you get $200 million, what are you doing? Seriously. What are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, don't get me wrong. You can burn through that pretty quickly, especially if you get into the drugs and the liquor. You're going to really end up going through it pretty fast. But, you know, going to Matt's math quarter once again, if you have $200 million, all right, let's just, there you go. $200 million divided by 50 years. That's 50 years. That's $4 million a year. Heck, and by the way, that doesn't include the obscene amount of interest you'll make putting a large part of that money just into an account, and you'll be pulling in, you know, at least six figures every year just on interest alone on that. But you would be living an incredibly nice life. I mean, at that kind of level, you'd have one of the nicer houses in town. You would have nice cars. And once again, once you buy that house, that's not an expense you're going to have the next year. And so you are going to have more than enough money. You can do the traveling. You can go on out there and see all the shows. You get when the biggest concerts come into town, you can go. You can go to all. You have the really good seats to every sporting event you ever wanted to go to. You know, you'll have a really big TV in your house. You'll have it nice. I mean, you will have a lot there. You can still, even that with that much money, you can still give a lot of money to charities and to the groups that you love and all these things. No, and what I'm talking about there is I'm talking about this insane level of wealth that's out there. When you look at the Zuckerbergs and the Musks and you look at the Trumps and you look at all these people and you just sort of say, you know, why is you've won? I mean, you've won. You've got enough money to where you can basically flip off the world and do whatever you want. And no one will ever bother you. And yet, because this quest for power, which is, I think, a broken mentality. You know, real leaders don't need a bankroll to basically be leaders. And I think that's what chews these guys up. I think what chews these guys up in the inside is that they themselves know all they are is a stack of cash. And granted, you know, you have to have some level of intelligence to get all that cash and all that money and stuff, but you can't ever enjoy it. And I'm sure they'll say, I enjoy it all the time. Yeah, Zuckerberg off on his, you know, floaty wave stick or whatever it is, or Elon Musk flying into space or something like that. No, you aren't able to enjoy it because you don't do what a sane person would do, which is basically, bye. I'm going to go live my life. Gonna go have a good time. Gonna do whatever I want to do, and no one's really gonna ever bother me again. I bring this up because our country has now just been taken over by billionaires. And the greatest lie that Trump and his crew have been able to convince the working class, people who are out in small homes in rural America, living below, in some cases, below the poverty line, people working 2-3 jobs who can't afford health care, who can't afford a car. They convinced you that they, the millionaires and billionaires and the Republicans that enable them, who will never want you anywhere near them. They don't want you near them. They don't want you touching them. They don't want you looking at them. But they have been able to convince you that, hey, they're just like me. And they're not just like you, man. They are not just like you. They only want you to be stupid enough to think that they want to be your friend, that they want to be your companion, that they want to be your buddy. And the reality is they are laughing all the way to the bank because you idiots keep voting against making your own lives better every time you vote Republican and you enable these millionaires and billionaires. Every single time. One of the reasons why, I was stunned at the Maggioni, public support for the man who gunned down somebody in the middle of the street. Because at the end of the day, you just don't gun people down in the middle of the street. And yet people have rallied around him and think that he's saying something. Bill Burr was on Kimmel's show, and he said people are talking about people trying to loot people's houses. What they don't want to talk about is all the insurance companies who are canceling the premiums on all these houses that burnt down and then pocketing all the money and saying, you're not going to get anything from us. There is this world that is the real world, and I see it because I vote Democrat. I'm not a dummy that thinks that they can put a flashy, shiny object in front of me and I can't see the real freaking world. And I've seen this stuff for years, and I'm like, I still can't believe you guys keep voting for this. Because this is only going to get worse and worse for you. Only going to get worse and worse for you. But the reality is it should not be a situation where people are gunning people down in the streets. You should actually address this at the ballot box and call for a fair tax rate on the wealthiest people. Call for a much higher tax rate on all earnings over $10 million. Trust me, they're not living check to check at that point. And if we did that, not only would we not have any problems in this country funding stuff like Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, social safety net programs across the board, most of us would actually get a tax cut. But you see, they don't want us getting a tax cut. They don't want all of our money to go to them. They're not your friends. They've never been your friends. United Health Group, by the way, popped up in the news today. It was interesting. I went and I saw this original story, and then it's funny how they reported on it, because the way they report on this is like, oh, it was such a horrible year for United Health Group. Was it? United Health Group, by the way, is about 1.5 miles from this radio station right now. The corporate headquarters for them are about 1.5 miles from this radio station I'm talking at right now. They provide medical insurance for more than 49 million people, help to negotiate drug prices. It also has contracts with the government. On Thursday, it's reported that more than $400 billion in revenue for last year. $400 billion in revenue last year, a record up 8%. Now, that's revenue. It was expected revenues to rise more than 12% in 2025. But its business is facing both financial and political pressure because profits. Now, I want to make sure we understand. I'm using the word profits. These are the profits this company made. Fell last year by more than a third, from roughly $22.3 billion in 2023 to $14.4 billion in profits. Now, it's considered bad. I mean, this is why they're reporting on this bad, is because Wall Street's basically become Vegas, where people like to gamble on where the stock is going to end. And when the stock doesn't actually end up where they thought it was going to be, they basically punish the company. It'd be like going to Vegas and playing blackjack and getting 20 and saying, hit me. And all of a sudden it gives you a 7 and you go over. And then you get the dealer fired because how dare you give me the card I asked for? That's kind of Wall Street. But the reality is that's 14 billion in profit. 14 billion in profit, partially by denying healthcare coverage. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. Let us help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hi, Matt McNeil here. You're listening to the best progressive radio in Minnesota. It's AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Are you struggling with cognitive decline, post-COVID brain fog, ADHD, concussion, tremors from Parkinson's, mental health issues, or simply striving to optimize your brain's potential? Hypercharge Wellness Brain Health specifically offers cutting-edge modalities including quantitative EEG, transcranial laser, red light therapy, all which work holistically, amplifying focus and cognitive functions. Utilizing these modalities in tandem enhances neural activities, optimizes the brain's electrical patterns, reduces anxiety, and enhances relaxation, ensuring a comprehensive approach to brain health optimization. All are invited to experience this life-changing journey towards achieving optimal cognitive and emotional well-being. Call or schedule online your free Hypercharge Wellness introductory session valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there's a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. Check out our 5-star reviews on our website. Hypercharge is hope.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 35, tonight cloudy with a low around 27, and Friday cloudy with a high around 38. Now's the time to act. Join AM 950 Radio as a member today and get your 2025 calendar as a thank you gift. With a larger donation, you'll also receive Tom Hartman's signed book. Don't delay. Visit am950radio.com and support progressive radio. That's am950radio.com.
I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser.
Broadcasting in the overnights on 1150 AM, KKNW in Seattle, in the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the afternoons on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show on your Thursday. Going back to United Health Group, once again, I want to make sure I repeat this last line here. Or I didn't repeat this. I didn't say this. I want to make sure I say this. The medical care ratio, which tracks how much of the premiums it collects that are paid out for health care, rose from 83.2% in 2028 to 85.85% last year. So basically, they're collecting premiums, but they're only, basically 15%, and I'm rough average here, 14.5 technically. Of all the premiums they take out, they collect, 14.5% of them, they don't pay out. I want you to think about the fact that these are healthcare companies are denying healthcare coverage. Denying healthcare coverage. And they have these situations and this situation going on right now. So it's something, man. And $14 billion. $14 billion, and that healthcare company, it's, That's their profits. That is their profits. That's not their revenue. That's their profits. Cargill, another company based in the cities I am in right now, started laying off thousands of employees last month. The company's owners made, as they did this, the company's owners made $2 billion from stock buybacks and one-time dividends, according to a Fitch ratings. $2 billion as they're laying off 8,000 people. The Minnetonka-based agricultural business announced in December it would lay off 5% of its global workforce, about 8,000 people, as part of a broader restructuring to counter declining profits. About 475 headquarters jobs were eliminated in Minnesota. At the same time, a private company's owners, almost entirely members of the billionaire Cargill McNeil family, received $500 million from a special dividend and a rare $1.5 billion share repurchase completed in December, according to Fitch Ratings report issued this week. The company last offered the share buyback and special dividend in 2019. The profit sharing came as Cargill's profits dropped 36% to $2.5 billion in its most recent fiscal year, and a majority of the company's business units missed profit targets, according to Bloomberg. They laid off 8,000 people. They made the owners made at the same time $2 billion. To give you an idea of this, and I posted this online, you know those 8,000 people that they fired? They basically could take and pay each one of them $62,500 for 2 years, and they would still make $1 billion. Wealth is wasted on the wealthy, man. They don't. I want to. We hear this about the job creators. We keep pandering to these wealthy people, and your life's going to be better. I know 8,000 people whose life is not freaking better right now. I know a handful of ultra rich people whose lives are amazing right now. But that doesn't trickle down. It's not coming down to us, nor was it ever designed to. The biggest lie the Republicans ever told you was that by giving wealthy people money, that you would somehow benefit. That is not true. And it has never been true, and they have been laughing their asses all the way to the bank while you and I get screwed over by these people. I know people that were let go by Cargill. I know people. And so when I read this story and I read, well, they were rolling around in their Scrooge McDuck money vault, I basically am furious about this. That these people were subjected to this, and they had the money to keep them on staff. The heck with them. You don't understand, Matt. No, I completely understand. And once again, I want to make sure we also say this. Your company made a profit last year. $2.5 billion, but still you could have given yourselves that $2 billion thing, and your company still made $0.5 billion. I know it doesn't, I know the money doesn't equate like that, but fine. Cargill's fighting tighter profit margins due to low crop prices after hauling in record earnings during the pandemic. What was the line here at the end of this story that I thought was pretty hilarious? Fitch sees a sunnier long-term outlook for Cargill. Yeah, sure, $2 billion. Woohoo! Yeah. The 8,000 people they let go, not so much them, but it's never about them, is it? It's never about them, is it? It's about the wealthy people. It's about them. Billionaire, in case you missed it today, the Treasury Secretary, Trump's Treasury Secretary, was up on Capitol Hill getting screened. Billionaire businessman Scott Bessent, Trump's pick to lead the Treasury, argued the federal minimum wage should remain at $7.25 an hour. 7, by the way, 25 times 40 times 52 equals a paltry $15,080 a year. I want to repeat that. 7.25 times 40 hours a week, times 52 weeks a year, $15,000. He thinks that that's a good wage. Now, one of the things all these guys will argue is, I don't need to raise it because no one's paying that. Well, if then no one's paying that, why not raise it? If everyone's paying at least $8.50 an hour, raise it to $8.50 an hour. Oh, I can't do that. And the lie, this is the lie. They know there are people out there looking at their dividends and their billion-dollar stock buybacks and all these things, knowing that their employees are getting paid $7.25 a freaking hour and laughing all the way to the bank as that minimum wage is 40 years behind where it should be right now. 40 years behind where it should be. Right now in America, we have 22 million workers who are making less than $15 an hour, nearly 40 million people earning less than $17 an hour, Sanders explained. Shamefully, the federal minimum wage, despite the efforts of myself and other people, have not been raised since 2009, remains at an unbelievable $7.25 an hour. Will you work with those who want to raise the federal minimum wage? Senator, I believe the minimum wage is more of a statewide and regional issue. So do you think that we should change the federal minimum wage of $7.50 an hour? Sanders pressed. No, sir, Trump's nominee said. This is a billionaire. A billionaire who doesn't wash his clothes, a billionaire that doesn't do his own grocery shopping, a billionaire that doesn't do a damn thing outside of call somebody to take care of things for him. A kind of person that doesn't want you near him, doesn't want you near his property, doesn't want you near his private dock and vacation home, doesn't want you near his kids because you're the troglodyte people. And by the way, his Treasury Secretary received blowback on social media after he claiming that Trump's tax cuts for the wealthy would prevent economic calamity. He testified before Congress. He confirmed he would join the long list of millionaires and billionaires who are populating the Trump administration. This is the single most important economic issue of the day. This is pass-fail, Bassett said. If we do not fix these tax cuts, if we do not renew and extend them, they'll be facing an economic calamity, and as always with financial instability, it falls on the middle and working class people. No, it doesn't. And you know why? Because you're already screwing us over. You're laying us off. You're not giving us your medical care. You're keeping our minimum wage at $7.25 an hour. No, you've already effed us over so dang bad we can't do a damn thing about it. You are only concerned about you, billionaire Bobby. You're only concerned about you paying a reasonable tax rate. Not all your money. Just a fair tax rate. And you're like, oh my God, we will punish these people. And by the way, how about that story? That whole argument. Well, these are the job creators, Matt. If you tax them, then they're not going to create jobs. Elon Musk just took over Twitter and fired, was it 70%, 75% of the entire staff? That's not job creating, Einstein. And right now, they got tax breaks a go-go. Cargill just laid off 8,000 people. Please. This is a problem because 77 million MAGA idiots think that these people are on their side. They think that Donald Trump has a sneaker that costs $300. I got a pair of worn down sneakers. We're the same guy. No. Donald Trump is not there for you. He is laughing at you for enabling him to do what's about to happen to you. When your Social Security is gone, you're not going to get that money back, idiots. That goes to millionaires and billionaires. When they kill Medicaid and Medicare, that money ain't coming back to you. That's going to the millionaires and billionaires. When they kill the post office, that money is not going to go back to you. That's going to go to the millionaires and billionaires. When they kill the public school system, you're not going to have money to go send your kid to a private school or get a voucher or anything. No. You're not going to have school. You're not going to have school anymore. You know what you're going to have? Nothing, because they're going to give all the money to the millionaires and billionaires. Salon's Amanda Marcotte examines the MAGA movement's populism in a scathing article published on Thursday, arguing the Trump and MAGA's alliance with billionaires tech bros exposes their populism is an illusion. Trump's Diet Coke addiction has long been used by a grifter-in-chief to sell his fans on the big lie of his career that beneath all the private jets, over-the-top gilded decor, he's a regular guy just like them. He, too, houses the sugar-free caffeinated beverages as a vague gesture towards health in between housing vegetable-free greasy meals and cheap hamburgers and sugary desserts. He must be an ordinary salt of the earth man. After all, he drinks a product found in every common supermarket. Marcotte adds, never mind that Trump would never sully himself by actually entering a grocery store. He pays people to do that for him. Trump, the Salon journalist, laments is able to trick MAGA voters into thinking the rich, formerly TV star, is one of them. On Tuesday, NBC News reported that tech billionaires Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg will all have prominent seats at the platform at Trump's inauguration. The symbolism is unmistakable. She continues, those seats are usually reserved for family members, former presidents, and prominent politicians. Giving those seats to billionaires signals loudly that this is a new area of oligarchy without even an attempt to feign allegiance to pre-Trump notions of government for and by the people. Sure, you would never be able to retire, own a home, Marquette laments, but it sure seems the R word's going to be back for you. You're not going to have consequences for bringing back the R word, but you can't afford a house or health insurance and all that stuff. But you can say the R word, idiots. They get to call people bad names again. I can't laugh too hard, or I can't afford to go to the hospital. What's this I just saw here? There's a New York Times. It's a breaking story from the Times, basically saying most people are starting to forego homeowners insurance. Jeez. You guys just don't seem to understand. And once again, it's really easy to convince you when they own all the media, when they own the vast majority of social media, when they basically are constantly hammering you with story after story of, I'm just a regular guy. No, you're not. He's not one of you. He is a billionaire, and he does not want that to change. You see, this is one of the reasons he has convinced you, MAGA voters, that to make yourselves feel better, you'll attack another lower middle class person, because that's the easy target for you, as opposed to go over there and say, hey, the billionaires are really screwing this country over right now, and we are all going to suffer because of it. That's too hard for you. So you say, teacher, get summer off. Don't pay teachers any money. Ha, ha, ha. Now I feel better about myself. The millionaires and the billionaires are not on your side, idiots. They're not. They will. Here's the crazy part is, eventually, considering you've enabled these people, we're going to get to a point where they're going to look at the middle and lower class and say, you guys need to pay a 50% tax. You guys, we're going to have to tax your income at 50%. We just got to pay down the deficit so we can give more money to millionaires and billionaires. And at least half the MAGA people, many of them who live at the poverty line, will sit there and say, yeah, this is great. Sacrifice more for them. You guys, you did all this to yourself. More on this when I do come on back. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to RudyLutherToyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to RudyLutherToyota.com. That's RudyLutherToyota.com.
Hey, AM 950, this is JP Derabagosian inviting you to the new expanded version of The Gailey Show. Join us Monday through Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. We'll be talking with politicians, journalists, health providers, actors, musicians, authors, and more. We are a fact-based progressive news analysis program that is tailor-made for the queer and allied communities. So tune in at 2 p.m. or stream us live on our YouTube channel. For all of the updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky. Just search for The Gailey Show.
Even though we're already into 2025, it's always the right time to support AM 950. The AM 950 2025 calendar is here, featuring photos I took around Minnesota and important progressive dates. Members who sign up for a recurring monthly $10 membership will receive a 2025 AM 950 calendar as a thank you. Make a recurring monthly $25 donation. You'll get the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book as a thank you. Hurry, though. The thank yous are running low. Go to am950radio.com for the details on the membership. Thank you so much for supporting AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, really fighting the man today, aren't I? But it is. I mean, you have to understand. There's always been this dance with these administrations, with the ultra wealthy, especially when you get into the Treasury Department and stuff. But what we're seeing with Trump goes beyond it. That everyone here is basically a billionaire whose whole goal is to trim the government down, hurt you and me, and then take the money that they save, not give it back to us, and put it in their own pockets. And laugh and laugh and laugh at you stupid idiots that voted for him. And the stupid idiots that didn't even vote. Let's not forget you. And Matt, you keep calling the Trump voters idiot moron people. Can't you be a little more cordial? Nope. Story example today. Educators and family in the areas where Donald Trump's America First seem to resonate the most could be hit with catastrophic cuts. Tom Gambrell, the superintendent of Bell County, Kentucky schools, joined most of his neighbors and cast his votes for Trump with his students in mind. You did? But he told CNN that he hopes the president-elect doesn't carry through with his plans to cut federal education funding. Okay, stop. Idiots. This Tom Gambrell is a freaking moron. Listen to that sentence, that paragraph. He says, I voted for Trump with students in mind, even though he acknowledges that he knew that the president's plan was to cut federal education funding. What'd you think he was going to do for your students, you idiot? And he liked Hitler. And Trump likes Hitler. Dear Lord, man. Yet another moron saying, yeah, I heard him say he was going to do all that stuff, and that should have been a big red flag, but I voted for him because I thought he was kidding. But now I'm a little concerned he might actually do what he said he was going to do at every rally in the country during the election. Idiots, morons. That's all you are. I don't think anyone in our county wants to cut our school funding, and I don't think anyone voted for that. You are such morons. Yes, you did. You acknowledge he said he was going to do this. He acknowledged he was going to do this. You went out there and said, I like the cut of his jib and voted for him. And now you're trying to make it seem like I voted for eggs, Matt. Eggs. Eggs. No, you didn't. You voted for Trump. As he was saying all this, and you yourselves are admitting you heard him say it, and you still voted for him. Morons. Morons and idiots. Morons and idiots. You're not being nice. No, you're not being nice because you're going to hurt a lot of people with your stupidity. You only voted for him because he was owning the libs. Or you're racist. It's one of the two. You're not a billionaire or a millionaire if you're working for the education system in Kentucky. I can tell you that right now. So you can put that one aside. So either you're a racist or you voted for, or you're racist accepting, and you voted for him because he's owning the libs. He's owning the libs. Get him, get him, get him. Thanks, Roscoe P. Coltrane. You're idiots and morons. And no, I'm not going to validate your stupidity with some sort of nuanced argument. You're morons. You admit you heard him say he's going to do this. Now, is he really going to do what he promised he was going to do? Gambrill said the proposed cuts would be catastrophic, for the kids, forcing teacher layoffs, packing more students into classrooms, and getting less attention for vulnerable students, for the kids. A CNN analysis found all 50 of the states that rely most heavily on federal support for public schools in 2022 backed Trump in November, while all but 2 of the 15 that received the fewest federal dollars supported Kamala Harris. This is one of those cases where Republican policies are stabbing their base right in the heart and will directly impact their kids, said the vice president of the Center for American Progress. And you stupid idiots are going to sit there and say, it was the Democrats who did this to me. No, it wasn't. You're just idiots. You're idiots and morons. That's all it is, man. It's not nuanced. You're idiots and morons. Trump hasn't shared many details of his proposal, although he's spoken in support of shutting down the Department of Education. Republican proposed an 80% cut in 2023 to Title I, which pays teacher salaries in low-income communities. 80% cut, and a 25% cut last year. You notice the trend here. A lot of these proposals are implying that most vulnerable students, the Senior Director for Education Policy at the Center for American Progress, this really is just a pattern of making things worse for those who already are in the margins, and that's concerning. The Project 2025 blueprint for Republican governance calls for expanding school choice and turning federal school funding, such as Title I, into programs that support students with disabilities into no-strings-attached block grants to states, which experts say could redirect funding away from marginalized communities, a.k.a. the Brett Favre standard. If we want to start putting public money into a private schools, they become public schools, Gambrill said. I just don't think that taxpayer money should be distributed to private schools. Gambrill, you're a moron, man. You yourself acknowledged you heard all of what he was saying he was going to do. And under this, once again, either you are racist acceptant and only wanted to own the libs, or you're a racist. It's one of the two, or I guess it could be a little bit of both. Because when he's saying this, he's saying I'm going to shoot you in the face. And now you're looking at him as he's loading the gun and walking towards you, getting ready to point it in your face and say, he didn't really mean he's going to shoot me in the face, is he? I voted for that? No, Matt, even though I heard him say he's going to shoot me in the face, I voted for eggs. Eggs, Matt, eggs. Come on, Matt. It was a nuanced vote. It was eggs. Bam. Dear Lord. I can't. You guys, and if you make less than $200,000 a year, you're fodder for them. You're a box of paper clips. That's all you are. You don't matter to them. You don't matter to anything. All you are is something from the supply closet, and when they need new ones, they throw you out and they'll just go get some more. And you dumb idiots felt like the people talking to the paper clips meant that you as a paper clip were equal to them. Can't help you, man. But you're all about to get what you deserve. That's for sure. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Winter reading, losing yourself under a blanket with the fireplace blazing away while submerging yourself in a book and trying to finish just one more page? Winter nights are the perfect time to read, and that's where Next Chapter Booksellers can help. They're independently owned and have all the bestsellers and new releases. Not sure what to get? Their friendly booksellers are great at recommendations. That's your winter reading headquarters. Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Start the new year with nonstop laughs at Brave New Workshop's Big Christmas Energy. This holiday tradition, now running through January, is packed with sketches and songs to keep the laughs going. Enjoy new sketches and perennial favorites, including their unforgettable take on the 12 Days of Christmas. Whether you're recovering from awkward holiday conversations or just looking for a good time, Big Christmas Energy will leave you smiling. Catch Big Christmas Energy Thursdays through Saturdays in January at Brave New Workshop in Minneapolis. Get tickets at bravenewworkshop.org.
The Tom Hartman Show. Now, that's Smart Radio, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. Secretary of State Blinken says he fully expects the ceasefire deal in Gaza will be implemented as expected on Sunday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a last-minute dispute with Hamas is holding up Israeli approval of the deal. Blinken made his comment at his final news conference as Secretary of State, one that protesters disrupted.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is defending the Biden administration's policies on the Gaza war as protests interrupted his final news conference. At the State Department, Blinken called the Gaza ceasefire deal a relief for Israelis and Palestinians alike.
It's also a moment of historic possibility for the region and well beyond.
Saying he expects the deal to be implemented this weekend.
How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide?
But as he spoke, people in the room accused Blinken of ignoring Israeli violence against Palestinian civilians.
Criminal! Why aren't you in the Hague?
They were rare, if not unprecedented, protests in the State Department briefing room. Blinken says questions about how the U.S. handled the war are fair.
And they'll be asked for a long time.
But says the administration had to focus on one thing.
Where we could actually get an end to a conflict, an end to suffering, and the prospect of something better.
Sagar Meghani, Washington.
In the Los Angeles area, firefighters are spending another day battling the two largest fires, which have killed 25 people and destroyed more than 12,000 structures. At the same time, government officials are starting the epic job that will unfold over years, clearing Altadena, Pacific Palisades, and other ravaged communities of toxic ash and debris. 2 deaths to report. Longtime Brewers announcer Bob Uecker has died at the age of 90, and filmmaker David Lynch has died at 78. This is AP News.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came packed to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Hello, everyone. This is Becky McNatton.
And Tara Martini.
Hosts of Feels Out Loud, heard each Sunday at 9 a.m. on AM 950 radio, where we talk about mental health, life, emotions, and strategies to help you honor your humanness.
Join us starting Sunday, January 26th, as we process through feeling out loud, what it means and looks like to share of ourselves with others, and the impact to us when we don't.
So grab your coffee, find a comfortable spot to relax, and tune in at 9 a.m. to live and share mental health with us together.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 35, tonight cloudy with a low around 27, and Friday cloudy with a high around 38. Looking for a cozy neighborhood bar and restaurant in Minneapolis? Nightingale serves delicious American classics like their famous Nightingale Burger, ginger tamari chicken wings, and more. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with takeout available. Visit nightingalempls.com for details.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Thursday. Good to have you with us. The Matt McNeil Show, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Matt and Patrick here today. Joining me right now is a friend of mine, Jackie Craig. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Hi, it's always a delight to see you, Matt. Quick thank you for my fabulous calendar for Christmas. Thanks.
You're welcome. Photos by, I know, me? Really?
They're
Okay,
fabulous.
there you go. I'm glad you like that there. And by the way, if you would like to get a calendar as a thank you, all you have to do is go to am950radio.com, help support AM 950 Radio, and as a thank you gift, we'll send you a calendar, or you as well, at another level, you can get the calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book, am950radio.com for that. But we're joining, as much as I could talk about that all day long, we have the People's March coming up on Saturday, January 18th. It's going to be onto the state capitol. They start at St. Paul College. They're going to march to the Capitol at noon, and they're going to have a full program there. That's why you're here. You're working on press media on this for the People's March. Talk a little bit about it, because this is, your organization has been around for a while here. This is not your first march.
Right. It's not our first March, although we've changed over the years, and we're all about connecting people to the community, to people who are already doing the work on the ground. We have so many organizations, Matt, in this Twin Cities area, all throughout Minnesota, who do the work. And we want to make sure people are connected with them, especially when people are feeling kind of hopeless, or how do I get involved, right? How do I do something about this? I don't like this regression of policies. I'm scared for democracy. I'm scared for humanity. What can I do? Well, you're fired up. Follow up. Get connected with community services, programs, organizations that are doing the work.
Well, and it's not just the ethereal enemy of sanity that is Donald Trump and his administration, but I mean, you even have it here right now in the state, where you have the Republicans who have a tie, thinking that they are, they're running around like Roman emperors, saying we're in charge, everyone bow down to us. This abuse of power, this fight we have is very clear in front of us, and if we don't get active, I mean, a large part of the reason why we're in the mess we're at right now is the stunning amount of people, 120 million people that could have voted in this country that did not. So if we don't get active right now, there's a real legitimacy. We won't be able to take this country back.
Yeah, first I got to call out, gosh, Matt, where's all your compassion for these poor folks? They just never win. So when they get even close to winning, they think they won the whole dang game. You know how that works. Folks who are so used to not winning get excited.
I know Packer fans. So, oh my God, I'm sorry.
That was good.
Thank you very much.
But no, democracy's on the line. That's why I march. That's why I am involved. We're seeing crazy, and I mean that in a real sense, just regression of all the progress we've made for humanity, people's lives, people being able to marry who they want to marry and love who they want to love, people being able to play sports that fit who they are, just people being themselves, and us honoring that as other neighbors. We're trying to pull that back across our nation, and Minnesota, as what I'm going to call a blue state now, forget this purple thing. We cannot do that anymore. We got to be blue. And as a blue state, we got to be there for neighboring states, for our country. So it's imperative that people in Minnesota get involved, get connected in.
It is like, as you said, we have got a place right now where you can either try to make your life better for yourself or wallow in a world where your life is so bad that the only value you have is trying to deny other people rights you just don't want them to have, using inappropriate language you shouldn't be using, and stopping people from being able to advance themselves, because if you can't advance, then no one else can. And the sad thing is there is a substantial amount of people that fall into that category. And the reality is and as much as we wish we could just say, hey, you know what, we want healthcare for all, or we want to have better quality schools, or whatever the case may be, they are not listening, because they would rather wallow in their anger and hate and despisement for other people than actually try to fix their own lives and make them better. And so we have to fight back with the other people that are here, which means, visibly getting out there and saying enough's enough.
Well, yeah, and it's really easy for people to cause division using that. They're about causing this division, causing people to rise up over petty, weird, strange, sometimes race-baiting things
Yeah.
when they're stealing from your back pocket.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about distraction.
They're stealing from your front pockets. They're going, saying, I'm going to take this, all right, and walking away. And they're like, yay, you took my wallet. Yay.
Oh, yeah, it feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah. And we need people with common sense to stay involved, to run for office, to help the progressive organizations that are already doing the work. We really appreciate the support of AM 950 pitching in for the People's March, and we're excited for all the folks who are going to be there. We're going to have tables in the rotunda after the rally, so it's warm inside the Capitol. There'll be tables in there so people can connect with the different organizations, and that's what it's all about.
So when we talk about, you've done this before. I mean, this was the Women's March in Minnesota. This was that was the march that was 8 years. I think it was 8 years ago. That was
8 years ago.
Yeah, and now as your organization has evolved, you're talking about for the people here. So it's the same group, but it's basically now saying it's not, all those other issues still matter. Absolutely, they still matter. But we have a whole bunch of other people that need to get on board with this as of right now.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of people from the first one. There were like over 100,000 Minnesotans, and they got connected in. A lot of them got connected in, and that's great. There's still people out there who aren't connected in, and we're hoping to capture them and get them excited about what can be done, what you can do when you feel powerless, what you can do when maybe you're frustrated or you're still working through that grief and anger. There is work to be done, and you know what? It fills your heart.
Yeah.
So come on, join us.
All right. So this is on Saturday.
Yep.
Once again, it's St. Paul College. It's on Marshall Avenue in St. Paul. It's that's when the pre-march rally starts at 11:30. You're marching to the state capitol at noon, and then you've got a full Capitol program. Let's talk a little bit about the program, the speakers you got lined up that are going to be at the Capitol.
Absolutely. Our MC is Miss Shannon. She's pretty great, and I'm really stoked that we have abortion access fronts. Liz Winstead coming, gender justice speaker Megan Peterson, Copal, Carolina Ortiz, or I think it's Carolina, sorry, and Speaker Senator Mary Kunesh, which we all know she's amazing, and then Reverend Dr. Dwayne Davis, which is exciting. I haven't heard him speak, but I'm connected to him on different areas, so I'm really excited about that. We have plenty more folks. There'll be speakers at both St. Paul College and at the Capitol, so there'll be plenty going on. We have musicians. We have folks who are going to be dancing alongside and in front of the march. We're very excited about that. It should be a beautiful day. I mean, you can push Friday's weather in. That'd be really cool too. But we're excited also to welcome sister marches across Minnesota. There's one in Brainerd Lakes, Cook County, Moorhead, Olivia, St. Cloud. We have a great FAQ on the website. People are like, oh my gosh, how do I get there? I'm worried about parking. I'm worried about this, that, and the other. I'm worried about safety. We highly recommend you use transit whenever you can, carpool, use the park and rides. There's information about that on the website. The website is womensmarchmn.com. And click on all the links. We were thinking about safety first. We have been proactively coordinating with the Capitol Security, State Patrol, and St. Paul Police. We've hired security de-escalation specialists. They'll be marching alongside us. They'll be involved throughout the event, and we have trained volunteer marshals along the route and at the Capitol. So we are very, very safety focused. We want to make sure we're good stewards of the space. We want to be making sure things are accessible. We don't want trash. Pick up your stuff, take it out, right? We aren't allowed to have pets there, but of course, their dogs are always welcome. And as you know, weather, it's going to be cold, chilly. It's Minnesota. We know to layer. Bring little hand warmers. Bring something for your ears. Make sure you've got good socks on. There's not going to be food or any water to buy there, so pack it in and then pack it out. We're really excited to see folks, so we hope people show up and get connected in.
As she said, wear layers because, you know, it is going to be a little brisk. It's supposed to be at 38 tomorrow, but it's going to be, I think, about 10 degrees on Saturday. So, you know, hat, mittens, get your gator on, but nice jacket, and you'll be fine out there.
We've done colder, Matt. We've done colder.
Oh, yeah. And I should say this one safety security thing we should be noting is that the House Republicans have lost themselves in the chamber. So, you know, they've got their Wizard of Oz guard door now. So they're going to be fine. They're in there. We don't have to worry about them. They're sequestered themselves to the benefit of all the rest of us. But that's me saying that. That is me. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. And it sounds like, once again, it's not, that's actually, as people sometimes hear March, that actually isn't a very far march at all, really, either.
Right. It's not very far. You're around people that you can feel pretty doggone safe around. People are watching out for each other. You can bring your signs. Just don't bring them on sticks or poles, please. That's a safety issue. But we're excited. Hey, I'm excited to see the signs. We in Minnesota, we have the best homemade signs. I love it.
No, this city puts out some of the best signs I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, maybe I should do that. If you've got good signage, take it out there to the People's March on Saturday and post. If we get pictures of it, I'll get it posted up on the social media page. We'll see if we can get the best one of the posters out there. But once again, not on poles, not on sticks. That's a safety concern. Just bring your sign and your creativity to go along with that there. The point of this, I think one of the things that I want to make sure I do point out is that this has got to be kind of a beginning. This was, you know, we cannot do one march and think this next 4 years are going to be fine. This is something that I'm presuming you guys want to use as a springboard to, all right, guys, we need to get at this because this country is not going to save itself. We have to get out there and we have to save it.
That's absolutely right. The Women's March board itself, it's very tiny. And this crew that came together to work on the march, also pretty much a skeleton crew. So it's not about us. It's not about what we're doing. What we're trying to do is just bring people to the organizations doing this hard work on the ground. They need your money. They need your time. They need your attention. They need your action. And we're driving you to them.
It's an important time, folks. On Monday, it's as hard as it is to believe Trump's going to get sworn into office again on Monday. And, you know, we've talked about this on this show of all the bad things that are coming. You can see what the Republicans in the state are trying to do here. It is truly kind of times where if you sit back and just hope somebody else is going to let their voice be heard, well, bad things are going to happen. And so you need to get out there and need to get active. Once again, a great opportunity for you to do this on Saturday, January 18th. It starts once again at St. Paul College. The march goes to the Capitol at noon. The program starts at 12:30. And Jackie, as you said, in the rotunda, there will be some booths afterwards as well, right?
There will. And the rotunda will be open for accessible restrooms and for warming as well.
They're very good.
The whole Capitol.
Jackie Craig, all my best here on this walk here. God bless you. You know, we need to make our voices heard because, yeah, we can't. I thought after the first time we wouldn't have to have this discussion again, but here we are yet again. We can't allow this to basically go. And if we don't fight back now, we may never be able to fight back again. So I praise a lot of applause for your organization, all the people there. And I love you, dear. It is absolutely wonderful to chat with you.
Lots of love back at you all. Everybody at AM 950. We appreciate you.
Jackie Craig, People's March coming up here on Saturday at the Capitol. We'll take a break. Come on back. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday. Hi, everyone. Even though we're already into 2025, it's always the right time to support AM 950. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members will make a recurring donation of $10 to receive a 2025 AM 950 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 2025 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you. Or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. To become a member, go to our webpage, am950radio.com, and click on the membership button. The website has all the details on the different levels of the 2025 calendar and Tom's book. But be warned, we're starting to run low on the calendars and the signed book thank you. So don't delay. Thank you so much to everyone who supported us for the last 5 years and continue to help keep AM 950 alive. One of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
Hi, this is Ken Hagelin, host of Living Healthy and Aging Well, heard each Saturday from noon to 1 on AM 950. Joining me this Saturday is Harvey Pearl, principal of Pearl & Company, a Minnesota-based insurance broker, and he will be talking about the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period that ends March 31st and allows participants to switch plans or adjust coverage to fit their needs for 2025. That's this Saturday, January 18th from noon to 1 on Living Healthy and Aging Well.
Get ready to laugh out loud with Matt Matthews at the State Theater January 23rd. Hailing from Alabama, Matt is a stand-up comedian and social media sensation. He skyrocketed to fame during the pandemic with hilariously raw posts and videos. And now he's back on the road with his all-new show, Bougie on a Budget. Matt's comedy dives into his experiences as a gay man from the South, life on a farm, relationships, and more. Don't miss Matt Matthews at the State Theater in Minneapolis on January 23rd. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
Could have been a little less strange that night. I was feeling down in my mood.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the Matt McNeil Show. I've known Jackie for years, man. It's great to see her, and it's great to see the People's March going on this Saturday. And once again, I talk a lot about the idiots that freaking elected this guy. I mean, like I said, that story out of Kentucky that I got into the last hour where the guy is, he said he's going to destroy my education system, but he's not really going to do that. I voted for him for the kids. And you just want to look at him and just sort of say, how can you be this obtuse? How can you be this kind of broken and hear somebody saying this and think that, oh, he's not going to do it? Yeah. And by the way, it should be not missed on that thing is, boy, that guy is really concerned because all of a sudden he's realizing as much as eggs was what he insists is his justification for voting for Trump, the price of eggs ain't going to go down. And that's nothing compared to the decimation of your school districts you're about to see. So good going, morons. But as well, they convinced a lot of people that there was no reason to go out and vote. And because of that, that's going to hurt us all. And it might not hurt you directly. Well, unless we get something like the avian flu and that clown car brigade at the federal government is not going to be able to manage it at all. And all of a sudden we're going to have people dying all over the place. Then it might affect you. But even if it doesn't get to a point of a serious pandemic, your mom and dad all of a sudden lose their Medicaid, Medicare, and your Social Security. And they're looking at you because they're eating cat food and wondering if their son can basically help buy them some groceries. Or they're wondering if their daughter is basically can go to the doctor and go get some medication that they need and give it to them. Maybe then all of a sudden it will kick into gear that maybe, just maybe, sitting out elections does have consequences. And tragically for a lot of Trump voters and tragically for a lot of people that didn't vote at all. I mean, it would take them basically, suddenly sick, pandemic, no medical care, no vaccine, no nothing. Wait a second. What do you mean I'm dying? Yeah, and then all of a sudden they'll get born again politically crazy. Then this is wrong. Why is this happening to me? Anyway, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Let's go through the latest in the crazy train that is the before I get to that, we have got a pair of tickets to give away right now. Patrick, are you ready to go on this? Good. All right. We've got a pair of tickets to Brave New Workshop's Big Christmas Energy, the 4:30 p.m. show on Saturday. 4:30 p.m. show on Saturday at Brave New Workshop. Caller number 5. We'll do caller number 5 at 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you're going to get a pair of tickets to go to the Brave New Workshop, Big Christmas Energy over at the Brave New Workshop on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. If you haven't been to Brave New Workshop, you will get a smile on your face. Good luck. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Caller 5 will win. Let's run through the latest on what has been going on in the Capitol. And we're actually going to start with something that we talked about yesterday with Brad Tabke when he was on the air. But I want to give the Minnesota Reformer, because basically they're the only ones right now I've seen report this. And I want to stop and say this without a doubt in my mind. If a Democratic representative did this, that the entire news organization of the state would go nutsoid, would be above the fold, the biggest font since World War II. Breaking news, Democrats ripping off the state, and every Democrat in the state would be getting a microphone jammed into their face of when did you know and when did you know it, that sort of thing. Minnesota House Republicans voted to hire 3 lawyers from Representative Harry Niska's law firm to represent the chamber in a lawsuit brought by House Democrats when the two sides battle over the control of the chamber. Now, let's make sure I clarify one thing. This isn't about defending the House of Representatives. This is about defending the Republican Party of Minnesota's House reps. That's it. This is a political ploy by them. It's going to get knocked down. Eventually, this whole thing's going to get thrown away. Because what's going to happen, the Supreme Court's going to rule you didn't have a quorum, so anything you did while you were in there is null and void, which is going to be enjoyable. Although I'm going to guess these lawyers are going to sue the state saying, we entered into this contract in good faith. I'm going to guess if that's what happens. Just pure speculation. But a representative who is the chair of the committee gets fake committee, gets the fake committee to hire his law firm's partners to represent the Republican Party at the Supreme Court in a case they're going to lose at taxpayer expense. You know those same Republicans who are saying, you're wasting my taxpayer dollars? This is example A right here. The call is coming from within your own house. Republican members of the House Rules and Legislative Administration Committee, the fake House Rules and Legislative Administration Committee, currently chaired by Niska, unanimously approved a resolution to hire attorneys Nicholas Nelson, Samuel Deal, and Ryan Wilson to represent the House of Representatives on the taxpayers' dime. Once again, not representing the House of Representatives. They don't have a quorum. These are the House Republicans. This is a Republican Party thing, and they're trying to get the taxpayers to pick up the bill. Nelson and Deal are both partners with Niska and the small Minnetonka law firm Crosscastle. Wilson, a former candidate for state auditor, is also an attorney at the firm. Yeah. This is so damn brazen. It's the conflict of interest. It is just, oh my God. Niska, a second-term representative from Ramsey, disclosed that the attorneys are his colleagues during the hearing on Wednesday of the fake committee. He said he doesn't have a private interest in the potential contract, although they're partners in his firm. And the lawyers I know that are in a partnership in a firm, there is some sharing between the partners of profits. There is some of that. So Are you sure there's no benefit here? He said he was not participating in the resolution to hire his colleagues. But do you get, as a partner to these colleagues, Niska, are you getting any of this money? No Democrats are listed as members of the Rules Committee, of the fake Rules Committee, of course. They are boycotting the legislative session, the fake legislative session, in an attempt to deny Republicans the necessary quorum, which they have. Democrats vowed to not return to the Capitol until after the special election is held this month on a blue-leaning district that is expected to return the balance of power to a 67-67 tie. House Republicans have carried on despite Democrats' absence, electing Lisa DeMuth of Cold Spring as their leader, holding committee hearings, fake speaker. Republicans argue that their one-seat advantage gives them the necessary majority to conduct legislative business. They're wrong. The Constitution, basically, the state Constitution says they need to have 68. Democrats and Secretary of State Simon both appealed to the Supreme Court to stop Republicans from invalidating everything they've done since the start of the session on Tuesday afternoon. Democrats accuse Republicans of self-dealing while conducting an illegal committee hearing. Minnesota should be outraged that Niska is using an illegitimate power grab to enrich himself with taxpayer dollars, said Jamie Long in a statement. The House GOP should immediately stop any taxpayer dollars going to pay for private counsel to defend their illegal conduct, let alone taxpayer dollars to pad the pockets of Representative Niska. Damn. Representative Long's coming out swinging, man. I like that. Democrats say they will use campaign funds to pay for their legal fees in the case. They're using their own campaign funds. They're not wasting taxpayer dollars like the Republicans are. Niska rejected the allegation that he would personally be enriched from the deal. He said on social media that the contract would only be with his firm, but with his would not be with his firm, but with his colleagues acting independently. The resolution does not specify how much Niska's colleagues could earn working on the case. We need to hire lawyers to defend our democratic institutions against DFL lawfare. No, it's not an institution. This is you guys. You guys are doing a dog and pony show. You're doing make-believe House of Representatives right now. And now you basically are hiring lawyers to say that that the lemonade stand at the end of the street is actually an Orange Julius in the mall. It's not, man. And yeah, you're the ones that are basically abusing the taxpayer dollars on this. And like I said, and by the way, we need to revisit this when the Supreme Court quickly knocks this down and says you didn't have a quorum, and they come out there and say, well, we need to pay these. No, you just need to say, no, that comes out of the Republican campaign fund. This is not money that goes back to the Republicans. Nope. Nelson and Deal were among a handful of attorneys hired by the Trump campaign to intervene in the case brought by a left-leaning group attempting to keep him off the ballot. A spokesperson for House Republicans declined to comment beyond what Niska posted on social media. So there you go. You have, and once again, a House rep doing make-believe House of Representatives basically has a make-believe committee hearing where they take actual real taxpayer dollars and try to give it to his legal partners at his law firm, which I'm still not convinced that he is not pocketing some of that money, and basically to defend themselves against an indefensible coup attempt against the government of the state of Minnesota and violating the Constitution. It's going to be hilarious when this law firm does, hey, wait a second here. We were supposed to get paid. Dude, I'm going to just give you some, let me give you some legal advice, guys. Lawyers, let me give you some legal advice. I wouldn't be doing too much work right now because I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court is going to come back and say, you didn't have 68 people. You don't have a quorum. They couldn't do any of this. So you're out of luck. And until you get 68 people there, you can't have a House of Representatives. Oh, I have to, once again, the hypocrisy of Republicans knows no end, the truly demented, twisted way that they're going about things. But I will also this is crazy that to have a political party dipping their hands into the taxpayer dollar bins as blatantly as they are, and the rest of the news media in this state is like, I don't know, if I report on that, that might look like I'm actually being negative on Republicans, and I can't do that. Dude, man, find your spines, report on this, because that is pretty freaking brazen. And I don't know if you're working with these guys in the Republican Party, but by covering this up, it's trying to make them look good. Your lack of coverage of this issue is giving them cover. You shouldn't be doing that. This is an illegal attempt to overthrow the Constitution of the state of Minnesota and install themselves as some sort of majority, which they are not. So, yeah. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. More when we do come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Minnesotans are hardy. We don't let snow or ice get in our way. We have places to go. So making sure your vehicle is in prime shape for winter driving is so important. Take your vehicle to Rudy Luther Toyota for all your service needs. I was just there. I got my oil and filters replaced, and they did a complete safety check to make sure my vehicle can tackle winter. And they service all makes and models of vehicles. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com and use their super easy Toyota service schedule to set up your service appointment today. Rudy Luther Toyota on the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Chronic diseases, often pervasive and long-lasting, undeniably pose difficult challenges. At Hypercharge Wellness, we recognize the pressing need for integrative solutions that complement medical treatments, ensuring a true holistic approach. We've harnessed physician-directed, evidence-based modalities to promote well-being, symptom alleviation, and improve quality of life for those struggling with chronic conditions, including autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, migraine, dementia, and more. Chronic diseases present complex interplay of immunological, genetic, and environmental factors. While managing these conditions, integrating non-invasive evidence-based modalities can offer a significant improvement in one's quality of life. At Hypercharge, we prioritize cutting-edge therapies tailored to target the root cause of these disorders. Experience a free introductory session at Hypercharge Wellness at your convenient locations based in Maple Grove, Eden Prairie, and Woodbury. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. Call or schedule online for your free introductory session valued at $200 today. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. Hypercharge is hope.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 35, tonight cloudy with a low around 27, and Friday cloudy with a high around 38. Now is the time to act. Join AM 950 Radio as a member today and get your 2025 calendar as a thank you gift. With a larger donation, you'll also receive Tom Hartman's signed book. Don't delay. Visit am950radio.com and support progressive radio. That's am950radio.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. All right, so we gotta step back here for a quick second. We had a winner for the Brave New Workshop tickets to Big Christmas Energy for the Saturday show at 4:30 until they said, hey, I can't make the Saturday show at 4:30. All right, that's what the tickets are for. So unfortunately, you can't win. But here's the deal, and let's do this right now, Patrick. I got a 4-pack of tickets now. Let's give away 4 tickets. 4 tickets right now to Big Christmas Energy over at Brave New Workshop Saturday at 4:30. All right. It's the Saturday at 4:30 show. If you can make it, you're caller number 5. You're going to get 4 tickets to go to it. Enjoy. Sounds like a good time. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you're going to win the 4-pack, a 4-pack of tickets to go to the Brave New Workshop and go see Big Christmas Energy Saturday at 4:30. Good luck. 946-6205. So one of the things that has now come to light, and actually Brad Tabke yesterday was the person who brought this up about the negotiations, because we hadn't heard a lot about the negotiations between the Democrats and the Republicans on the power sharing agreement. But now the final attempt to avert the current legal and political battle for control of the Minnesota House, the details have come to light courtesy of the Minnesota Reformer. A few other places have reported on this, but it is, it has been, I'll go with the Reformer on this because, well, they're just better than everybody else. Let's just be honest about it. So the final attempt to avert the current legal and political battle for the control of the Minnesota House, Hortman offered the GOP speakership for 2 years. They were going to give the GOP the speakership. Now, I want to be hesitant here because part of me doesn't want to call this out too much, but boy, this feels like they were giving up a lot on this deal. This feels like they were giving up a lot. They were going to give the GOP the speakership for 2 years, as well as the creation of an oversight committee with a majority of Republicans who could have been empowered to investigate the administration of Governor Tim Walz. Okay. The deal on offer would have restored a power-sharing agreement that Hortman negotiated with GOP leader Lisa DeMuth, which the Republicans scrapped when the judge declared that Curtis Johnson, a Democrat elected to heavily DFL North Metro District, didn't live in the district and couldn't serve. That gave Republicans a 67-66 advantage until a special election on January 28th, which will restore the balanced power to 67-67. The Reformer was shown two of Hortman's final offers and confirmed their authenticity. Under Hortman's offer, DeMuth would have served as Speaker and Republicans as committee chairs until the special election on December 40th, in District 40B, at which time they would return to the agreed upon shared committee chairs. And that is usually, that's the last time this happened in 79. That was the deal. It's like some of the the speakership went to one party, the more popular, more powerful committees went to the other party. But then the party as well got some of the party with the speaker got a few of the other committees as well. So that's kind of how they did it. And that sounds like how they had worked this out. DeMuth would retain the speaker, and the remainder of the 2-year term, though, would have been a shared power with Hortman. The oversight committee would remain a majority Republican for the remainder of the term as well. So DeMuth would have been the speaker. Hortman would have had power sharing with her. They would have given them a committee so they could investigate Walz if they wanted. The offer included a key provision that would have blocked Republicans from refusing to seat DFL Brad Tabke, who did win his Shakopee seat, in the election. Hartman proposed an election contest like the Tabke case would be referred to the Ethics Committee, which has equal numbers of Democrats and Republicans. Rejecting an election outcome and creating a vacancy like in the Tabke case would require 68 votes. Although state statute says a majority of the votes given decides the issue, meaning Republicans could throw out the Tabke result with 67 votes. Leaders could use their constitutional authority to bypass the lower threshold and require 68. Hortman's Tabke-related provision was offered up before the judge ruled on Tuesday in a solely advisory opinion that Tabke won and missing ballots wouldn't have changed the outcome. For Republicans, the offer was a non-starter, a source told close to the House GOP leadership said, because Democrats acted like they had a 67th vote, sought to unilaterally disarm us on Tabke and neuter the Fraud and Oversight Committee we had already announced last week, referring to the Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Policy Committee. Well, that's not going to exist because you don't have a quorum. Told to take a hike, Democrats used the last parliamentary weapon in their quiver, refusing to show up. By staying away from the Capitol, they're denying a quorum, which is the minimum number of members needed to conduct business. Republicans are insistent that their 67 members are the majority, but they're wrong because the Constitution clearly says it's the number of seats. It's not the number of people that show up. Democrats included the presiding officer on the opening of the session. Secretary of State Steve Simon said 68 is needed for the quorum, and therefore everything after the time he banged the gavel and adjourned the day for session was not lawful. The Supreme Court is scheduled to take up the case next week. And Hortman has withdrawn the offer to allow DeMuth to remain as Speaker for the next 2 years, a source close to the deal said. As a matter of fact, you have the power now when these Supreme Court justices knock this down and say you don't have a quorum, henceforth, you can't have make-believe House of Representatives Republicans. At that point, The Republicans, my guess is the Republicans are going to be willing to say, well, we promise we won't throw Tabke out after the first week, for 1 week, but then we have control of all the rest of the stuff. I wouldn't give it to them. I would go back to hey, you need us, we need you. So you can't, it's not your way or the highway anymore. The Supreme Court is going to have oral arguments on the House quorum issue, DFL versus GOP. Republican responses are due by 9 a.m. on Tuesday. DFL responses in response to the response are due Wednesday. Arguments begin at 1 p.m. on Thursday, January 23rd at the State Judicial Center. So that's where that is at right now, to give you an idea of the timeline there. So there, that gets you up to date on that. The other thing is Governor Walz, because he did release his budget today, although he was very quick to say, I'm not working with these Republicans. They basically are, they're not serious people. Governor Walz is pitching his first budget under the Trump era as a counterweight to the incoming president's threat to impose tariffs, which he says will raise the cost on everyday Minnesotans. His plan would lower Minnesota's sales tax rate for the first time in state history by 0.075% across the board, while expanding it to cover some previously excluded services. Facing a projected multi-billion-dollar deficit in the next state budget, Walz also wants to reduce ballooning costs for special education and disability services. It's doable without denying services to a single person, the DFL governor said on Thursday, using a PowerPoint presentation filled with charts and graphics to help make the case. The budget rollout is one of Walz's first major actions since returning to the state following the election, where he was the vice presidential candidate. And he says he will crack down on fraud. Walz is facing a new political reality with the legislature now narrowly divided between the two parties. Narrowly divided. Forget, you guys keep wanting to try to stop referring to the House of Representatives as a win for the Republicans. It's a tie. The state of Minnesota made that a tie. And by the way, I've talked to a few more people in Shakopee since yesterday. Yeah, the Republicans have burned their bridges down there. You can sit there and try to do a special election and try to run things through. The reality is that you are not going to, I don't think they're going to win that seat again. They have really poisoned the water hole down in Shakopee. He'll have to work with a deal with Republicans on this. Passing a state budget is, he has to, the House is a mess, man. Democrats can't pass anything without a Republican vote. Republicans can't pass anything without a Democratic vote. And that's going to be the best part. Watch the Republicans. Watch the Republicans at the end of the session. Come on, guys. Why can't we work together after all the crap that they have done so far? They're going to sit there. How come we can't work together and find out why don't one of you guys have the guts to cross the aisle and vote with us? The sad part is that it probably will be at least one Democrat that will think about it. Don't. No. They face a July 1st deadline to strike a deal or risk shutting down the government services. Late last year, budget officials projected the state would have a modest $616 million surplus in the next 2 years. News that is overshadowed by the revelation that Minnesota's budget is projected to be $5.1 billion in the red for the 28-29 biennium. State budget officials said long-term care for peoples with disabilities and special education costs are the biggest drivers of the projected deficit. Now, it should be noted, and you don't bank on this by any means, but the last few budgets projections have stated that they were going to be, I only think one of them was saying we're going to run a deficit, but then when we got closer, they revised it up to a surplus. And that's kind of what they've been doing. Now, that $5.1 billion is a fairly substantial number, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it will, but I wouldn't be surprised if that revises up to a much more manageable number. Although Republicans have already started every millionaire gets every tax dollar back, and we're gonna just tax the minority people. I guess that's not, I'm presuming that's going to be a proposal from the Republicans. I think I should be giving them ideas. But one final note on this here, in regards to not only this story about the governor, but as well in the budgets, but as well as Hortman's deal. Republicans, you had that deal on the table and you walked away from it. You guys aren't too smart. And I really do mean that with all sincerity. I remember in the election of 2022 when you guys sat there and said, we're going to control everything. We're going to win the governor's office. We're going to win the House. We're going to win the Senate. So we're not going to do anything with the Democrats. We're going to deny these bills and we'll pass our own bills when we get into office. And the Democrats were like, hey, well, we can still pass this bill. We'll do this. Why don't we do this? Nope. And then I think even some Democrats in 2022 put out there the argument of, hey, why don't we have a special session before the election? We'll get this passed. Nope, we're going to be in charge. We want nothing to do with your bill. And then the election of 2022 happened. And funny story, Republicans didn't win squat. And do you remember that the next day? I remember you Democrats promising us a chance to work with that one budget which we vowed to never sign. Well, if you call us into session now, we'll gladly sign that bill. We really think it's a good bill. And the Democrats are like, no, you guys said no. You guys said you didn't want anything to do with that bill. So that bill is gone. And they acted like the Democrats somehow double-crossed them. Dude, you guys don't know what a gift horse is. I frankly think Hortman was giving you way too much of a sweetheart deal. A committee to investigate walls, the speakership overall, and control of the committees until the Democrats had the equal splitting, and then they would take back control of the other committees. You have had 2 weeks of Twitter content to your heart's desire. All you had to do was basically honor the agreement and make sure that tab key gets in there. And you guys walked away from that. Because I'm going to guarantee you when the Supreme Court kicks this quorum thing back at you and says you never had a quorum, Speaker, Secretary of State Simon's still in charge, and if you don't let him in there to gavel, we'll hold you in contempt of the Minnesota Supreme Court and negate everything that you have done up until this point. At that point, you're going to run back to Hortman and say, hey, you remember that great sweetheart deal you were offering? We'll take that now. Don't give it to him. As a matter of fact, sure, if you want to give her the speakership in a power sharing agreement with you, Melissa, by all means, do that. Don't give him the committee to investigate walls. Don't give him that. Do not give him. You take over the major committees. The Democrats get them. She gets the speakership. You get all the major committees, and the Republicans can have some of the lesser committees. And that no budget bill comes out of any committee without at least one vote from the other side. Done. Republicans will hate that, and maybe they'll storm out of the Capitol. Let them. But the reality is, you cannot give them the sweetheart deal you did after they get told they can't. You cannot reward them for their stupidity. Patrick, did we get a winner on that 4-pack of tickets there?
We did. Congratulations, yeah. David.
Congratulations, David. Enjoy the Brave New Workshop coming up on Saturday at 4:30. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Take a break. Come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show here on your Thursday.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Winter is here. Ramsey County winter warming spaces are now open every night between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. now through March. These spaces are available to anyone in need of a place to warm up overnight. If you or someone you know need a place to warm up overnight, call 651-266-1035 between 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. That's 651-266-1035. To find out more information, visit ramseycounty.us/warming spaces.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. And the non-populism, hey, Republicans are trying to overthrow the government news, we do have a few. This one just coming in, the story that they have in the strip here about undisputed that Jordan Markey walked into the Shields sporting goods store in Eden Prairie, that an employee handed him the 19-year-old an unloaded handgun after he asked to see it, and that Markey ran through the store, loaded it with ammunition, and fatally shot himself. Whether or not Shields and the employee who handed him the gun are to blame for that suicide is at the center of a wrongful death lawsuit filed last year on behalf of Markey's mother, Sarah Von Bogart. The suit is backed by Everytown USA, one of the largest gun control advocacy groups in the world. In a court virtual hearing conducted in Hennepin County, judge listened to both sides argue the merits of the defense motion to dismiss the lawsuit. I don't know. Okay. So, first of all, depression, mental health issues are very serious. We do not nearly spend enough money on them as we should, and we should spend a lot more money on them. And it's a tragedy that we have people out there that want to not only end their own lives, but some people want to take other people out with them. And that is a real crime. We need to do more to help the people that need the mental health services for sure. But I would make sure that, not making sure guns are that easy to get access to is probably part of it. And I can understand you say to yourself, oh, well, did Shields really do anything wrong? No. It's not like they were handing guns out in front of the store. But it should have crossed somebody's mind that might have been an outcome. And frankly, I mean, you're dealing with guns. These are not toys. I don't necessarily, like I said, in just my personal opinion, I don't necessarily think Shields is 100% culpable, but I don't think that they're 100% innocent either. And so it's going to be interesting here. I don't know if going after the 19-year-old kid that did this, I'm sure that kid is having a lot of nightmares himself over this, but we'll see. A mother has identified her son as the teenager who is left with numerous injuries after being ambushed by a group of fellow Edina High School students at the city's YMCA last month. Abeba Goosh said son Elore Bean, 16, suffered brain injuries, a cut below the eye, bruises, several other injuries from the December 20th attack at the Y on York Avenue. 3 weeks later, he is still struggling physically and mentally. She wrote in an online fundraising campaign. She started that the weekend she started over the weekend as a medical bills mounted. I'll post the story, so if you want to make a donation, you can. I'm a single mom, and he was working part-time, is now unable to work under doctor's orders. I've had to cut my hours in order to take care of him and take care of follow-up appointments. 2 teenage boys were charged Friday among 6 arrested in connection with the planned assault that occurred about 6 p.m. on the basketball court. One of the charging documents read, police said he showed signs of declining mental state and memory difficulties after being hospitalized. A 16-year-old boy was arrested on Wednesday in Edina, police said, and then 3 more boys were arrested on Thursday, a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old in Edina and a 16-year-old in Bloomington. And on Friday, a 17-year-old was arrested in Edina. A 6th suspect, 17 years old, turned himself into the Edina Police Department on Saturday. Charges as of Friday afternoon are the one teenager who was 15 at the time in the incident and another was 16. I've said this before. You pull off a crime in Edina, they're going to find you. They're going to find every one of you. And frankly, can I ask the question, what was with the YMCA employee that let all this gang of thugs into there to attack this kid. How is the YMCA not talking about this? Because someone in their employee let that guy in and let that crew in to attack this guy, and that needs to be explained as well. Absolutely. Native Roots Radio is up next. Have a good one. We are back on a Friday. Until then, see ya.
Spring and summer is the right time